Good evening. How are we feeling? Yes, my name is Chris, or as my boss calls me, Ginger Chris. There are no other Chris's in the office. I think he just thinks that it's good at this point to differentiate me just in case a new Chris will join in the future. Apparently this practice is not considered necessary for non-ginger Chris's. Even pedo Chris managed to escape it. Much like he escaped prosecution. But yes, ladies and gents, growing up as a red-headed male, I got all the standard insults. You know, ginger nut, copper top, wanker. Grandmothers can be quite blunt, can't they? Still, it was an odd thing for her to say on her deathbed. But luckily, she made a miraculous recovery and was able to go on calling me Fanta pubes well into her 90s. But yes, aside from the standard ginger insults, I often get a lot of sort of celebrity comparisons or comparisons to ginger characters. So one I'll often get is I'll get compared to a Harry Potter character. Yeah? Anyone here like Harry Potter? Yes! I thought we'd have some virgins in tonight. Makes me feel less alone. But yeah, it's quite a common occurrence. I'll get some witty chap come up to me. Oi! It's Harry Potter's mate! Harry Potter's mate, innit? How's it going, Hermione? Typecast again. Had a guy come up to me quite recently. He said, "You look really like Ed Sheeran, but like a blander version." A blander version? A blander version of Ed Sheeran? That's like saying you're the blander version of a korma. You're fucking lukewarm rice mixed with milk. Essentially, he was saying I was Ed Sheeran without any edge. I was Aaron. Thank you. Another one I got once was Prince Harry. Guy said to me, "You look like Prince Harry." I was quite pleased with that one. Yeah, royalty. I was quite flattered. Turns out it was because I was wearing a Nazi uniform. Now, in my defense, it was a bad taste themed party. I say party because most people say a funeral's a celebration of life, don't they? At least I got a better reception than that guy dressed as Jimmy Savile. They shouldn't have had an open casket. And as for the guy that came as Michael Jackson, I hope those kids were his. But yes, as well as the ginger insults, the look-alike stuff, I quite often get a bit of flack for my accent. It can be difficult to place, I know. I often get asked what part of Africa I'm from. No, but I'm actually Irish, specifically Northern Irish we'll come on to. And yes, of course, great to be Irish today on St. Patrick's Day. Give me a cheer if you're having a drink for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. So by the signs of it, unlike most of you, I actually am Irish today. I'm not just pretending to be to cover up a drinking problem. Now, I do drink quite a lot myself, but I don't consider it a problem. Only my girlfriend, my doctor, and my passengers do. But yes, my accent, I used to have quite a thick Irish accent, but I very much diluted it down in the last couple of years, because I'm aware, in this post-Brexit apocalypse that we're now living in, that I'm only ever one mispronounced word away from being deported. And lately, I've been waking up after having a nightmare, waking up in cold sweats, having a nightmare that Jacob Rees-Mogg is interrogating me just because I asked for a towel from a shower. Because in Northern Ireland, when we have a wash, which happens about once a fortnight, and we need to dry ourselves, one does not ask for a towel. We need a towel. Give me a fucking towel. But holy shit, I've been rumbled by the Mogg bot. He's outed me as a foreigner. And now he's towering over me, tails and top hat, monocle. Yes, I think you'll find that that's not the correct pronunciation of the word towel. It is towel, as in towel head. So I am afraid it is back to the colonies with you. Go back to Paddyland. And by the way, we're keeping the potatoes and the Guinness. Did that impression for my girlfriend quite recently. She said, that's not a very accurate impression of Jacob Rees-Mogg. You need to sound more like you've got a cock in your mouth. Well, I do consider myself a method performer. Do we have any volunteers? But yes, Brexit, I'm sorry to bring it up. I know we're all sick of it, especially after this week. But I have an important point to make about Brexit. But first things first, full disclosure, in the referendum in 2016, I voted Remain. And yes, sir, I was old enough to vote. Get that kind of thing all the time. Oh, you look about 12, mate. Oh, you're a baby face. What I don't understand, though, is it's not socially acceptable for me to respond to those type of jibes by going, thanks. You have the opposite problem. Because you look fucking old. Or to put it in slightly less polite terms, you're an ugly cunt. That was a long job interview. I didn't get it. Pedo Chris did. Made a much better impression. But yes, Brexit, the Brexit vote, they say it was a generational thing, don't they? They say that my generation, the younger generation, much more likely to vote for Remain, whereas the older generation, my parents' generation, were much more likely to vote for Leave. That's the stereotype, isn't it? But in my family, that stereotype wasn't true. And I was pleased and actually very proud that my parents didn't vote for Brexit. Fair enough, they were dead. You know, great legacy for them. Even their gravestone said Remains. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the end of my time now, so in keeping in the Brexit theme, I hope you'll all agree it's time for me to leave and not to remain. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Chris.